Hello and welcome. You're with IndiaPostLive.com, India's first live interactive web television. Well, we've all come back after a long Diwali weekend, and what a weekend it was. And no, I'm just not talking about the festivities of Diwali, but the Diwali Milan that was organized at the BJP's headquarters, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi met for the first time journalists in Delhi. Yes, it was a long-standing grouse that the Prime Minister does not interact with the press. Everyone is tight-lipped. But for the first time, there was an interaction. However, the Prime Minister did not take any questions. Let's take a look at that. All right, we will be showing you an audio-visual in a little while, but let me just tell you a little bit about what happened in that press meet. Prime Minister Narendra Modi praised the media for their coverage of the Swachh Bharat campaign, and he asked journalists to keep up the good work. So let's take a look in detail as to what went on in that press meeting.
5 months after storming into office, Prime Minister Narendra Modi finally interacted with the press on Saturday. In keeping with the festive season, there were sweets all around, and Prime Minister Modi, in his first direct interaction, thanked the media for their coverage of the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and asked them to keep spreading the light.
मैं पिछले करीब 1 महीने से लगातार स्वच्छता पर इतने आर्टिकल पढ़ रहा हूं, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया में भी, सोशल मीडिया में इसकी इतनी व्यापक चर्चा हो रही है.
It is no secret that Modi's relation with the media can at best be termed delicate. His government has been criticized for not facing tough questions. It has been 5 months, but the PMO still does not have an official spokesperson. In his Saturday's interaction too, the Prime Minister did not take any questions. But the Prime Minister's efforts to freely mingle with journalists after his address was appreciated by many of those present. His remarks that he wants to deepen and broaden his relationship with the media is being seen as a definite shift from his past demeanor. The question India Post Live is asking, is the Prime Minister attempting to woo the media through his distinctive style of political communication, or is he deliberately trying to reverse the adversarial relationship he once shared with the press?
So is the Prime Minister deliberately trying to woo the press? Does he want to reverse the adversarial and delicate relation that he has had with the media? This is the question India Post Live is asking. I'm joined online by Shehzad Poonawala. And Shehzad, hi, welcome to India Post Live.
Thank you very much.
Shehzad, it's just you and me on the show for the time being. Vineet of BJP's IT cell was supposed to join, but he had a last-minute meeting that he had to rush to. So I will be playing a bit of devil's advocate. Don't fight too much with me.
With pleasure. But I'm not surprised, curiously, that Vineet chose to escape from the media.
Really? Why? Why do you think he chose to escape from the media? But Narendra Modi himself has reached out to them? Opening comments, Shehzad.
Because what Narendra Modi does enjoy is a monologue. Even his attempts to meet the media are scripted as monologues. When it comes to a dialogue, just like Vineet, Modi also does a disappearing act.
All right. Now, since Vineet isn't here, let's not bash him up too much. But, you know, the fact that 5 months after coming to power, he finally chose to meet the press. Because remember, he got a lot of flack when he did not meet local journalists in Jammu and Kashmir as well. So he finally chose to meet them. Yes, he did not take questions. That is, in fact, a question that is, in fact, a talking point. He did not take any questions. But do you think in his own way, this is his way of reaching out to the press with whom he's not had a very good relationship?
See, if you go back to where Mr. Narendra Modi comes from and you go back to his years as Chief Minister of Gujarat right from 2001,
yeah,
you will see that if you compare it relatively, whether it's 2001 and 2002 when the riots took place. He did some interviews, the Karan Thapar interview that he got up from.
Yeah.
Post that, those who raised questions about Gujarat riots and questions about Sohrabuddin and other fake encounter cases like the Times of India Ahmedabad edition, they were charged with sedition. Ashish Nandi, a renowned scholar and writer, was charged with sedition by Gujarat government. Supreme Court threw that case out. So you see, the level of interaction that Mr. Modi has had with the press has always been at a very hostile nature, to put it mildly. And even today in the Gujarat Assembly, the media is actually banned. You are not the media is not allowed to cover the assembly proceedings. Even members of the opposition are banned from sometimes attending these proceedings. So from where he has come from to at least meeting journalists, even if it is just a photo op or a selfie op at the Diwali Milan, is a great stride forward for Mr. Modi, given his, what one could say, dictatorial style. But let me ask you this, and like you pointed out yourself, can Milans replace questions and legitimate questions that demand accountability and transparency of a government? Because questions were asked every second day of Mr. Manmohan Singh. Can selfies replace self-respect that a journalist must have at all times in order to be called the fourth estate of the democracy? These are questions I think that best left answered to journalists, not me.
Right, but Shehzad, again, like I said, since I have to play devil's advocate, I don't have a choice right now. What we have seen, traditional media, I mean, that includes newspapers and television, they seem to be quite taken in with him. In fact, even at that Diwali Milan, after he addressed the people, he asked them to keep spreading the light. He thanked them for their coverage of Swachh Bharat. And he stepped down, he mingled individually with each of them. And like you said, he clicked all those selfies. So a lot of journalists seem to be taken in by that again. So how, I mean, what do you think? I mean, isn't this, I should not be asking you this as a journalist, but what do you have to say, your comment on the state of the media, really, in this scenario?
I'm nobody to be self-righteous and start commenting on how media persons want to behave. Frankly, I don't belong to that estate, and it's best that I don't give out my comments in the most blatant way. But today, with what's happening with media ownerships, with what's happening openly with journalists who are against Mr. Modi. For instance, Sir Rajdeep Sardesai, the way he was heckled in Madison Square Garden, the way he's not allowed to continue to report, and only those who cheerlead for Mr. Modi, and some journalists like Gaurav Sawant, who I don't even think can be called a journalist, the way they are being put on a pedestal, I think that itself calls for introspection within the media. Let me not be a judge of that. But being taken in by Mr. Modi, being swayed by his rhetoric, I think if all media start behaving like that, you would end up living in a situation which would not be very different from the Hitler's years of 1930s, because the German media was pretty taken away by Hitler himself. So I would best say that the job of the media is to ask questions, ask hard and difficult questions, which they did of Mr. Manmohan Singh, and ensure transparency and accountability. That's why they are the fourth estate of democracy.
Absolutely, but then in a situation like this, when he is refusing to, and the press doesn't seem to really show their annoyance that much, or really, because I have read quite a few articles, both in traditional media as well as on the internet, and they did say that there was no breaking news, but the journalists were happy. Why are they saying this? I'm asking you, what is the charisma of Narendra Modi? What is this charisma that has even managed to sway journalists?
I'm a skeptic. I don't believe that so many people had so much charisma, and I don't find any in Mr. Modi. Yeah. But I would like to borrow one of the terms Mr. Modi himself used during the election campaign. He said that some people are in the business of news trading. I don't know what he meant by that. But seeing the way some people are behaving vis-a-vis his government policies, I wonder if Mr. Modi still believes that news traders are around. Let me give you a short example of it.
Sure.
Today, the black money disclosures which have come out, 3 of the names that have been disclosed are part of the 18 names that UPA disclosed 10 years ago. Yet some in the media are cheerleading for Mr. Modi as if he has bought back 5 lakh rupees in per person's account. So I believe that borrowing from Mr. Modi's terms, I hope that these people are not becoming news traders, as a term put by Mr. Modi, not by me.
All right, let's talk about Kashmir. The fact that the Prime Minister went to celebrate Diwali with the Jawans was again, you know, he seems to be doing all the right things, Shehzad.
Sure.
But of course, he did not interact with local journalists there. There was a lot of ire. I did not see that ire somehow in over here in Delhi. But what kind of a message do you think Mr. Modi is actually trying to portray to the fourth estate?
Well, as far as his visit to Jammu Kashmir is concerned, although he is not the first Prime Minister to visit the army jawans and spend time with them, and Mr. Manmohan Singh and previously others also did the same, I would, however, suggest that if he would have met journalists, it would have been better, because he announced a package of building houses for 750 crore rupees when the state government demanded 44,000 crore rupees. I guess the Jammu Kashmir journalists, the people of Jammu Kashmir, had some very legitimate questions, which again Mr. Modi, who is only used to monologues, did a scripted PR piece, which happened just before the election dates were announced, and came back home. I applaud him for going and spending Diwali with Jawan, but I think there was a lot more expected from him, and he has not come full marks on that aspect, I guess.
Do you think the media has been kind to him, to Mr. Narendra Modi, since he has taken power?
You are being too kind by using the word only kind. I think you should be far more honest and far more.
You're saying I'm not honest, Shehzad? Is that what? Am I not trying to ask the right questions here? It's only you and me now on the show.
No. Don't take it in a negative manner. I'm saying that to say that the media has been kind would be an understatement.
Yeah.
I think the media has been cheerleading some sections. I wouldn't say all.
I'm asking you why. I'm asking you why.
Well, I guess there is a legitimate reason that Mr. Modi has just come to power 30 years after Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. He's the first Prime Minister to secure a majority. So there are legitimate reasons. He does have a popular mandate. But then there are some reasons that are connected with media ownership. And I don't want to name anybody. But if those are the reasons, and then there are some journalists who, in Mr. Modi's words, are behaving like news traders, then there are legitimate and illegitimate reasons why he deserves, why he's getting the kind of attention he gets from the media. Sorry.
What do you think? What do you think, as a part of the opposition, the Congress and the other parties, the fact that the Prime Minister's office does not have an official spokesperson? It has been 5 months since he took power. 26th of May. Today is 27th of October. Why aren't you raising your voice about this? Why aren't you doing something about it?
Well, this is a matter of individual choice, whether the Prime Minister concerned wants to have a communications advisor or a spokesperson. I think the more important things to highlight for a political party would be the fact that RTIs that are being filed with the PMO are not being answered. The fact that the levels of transparency in the government are quite low, the fact that all the ministers are not empowered to take the decisions, not even appoint their private secretaries, but have to send all the files to one man. I think these are the far more legitimate questions which are being raised by the opposition, and the matter of having a spokesperson. But it does reflect the fact that Mr. Modi does not want information to be given out at an easy way. He wants to control the outpouring of information, and I think that's quite disturbing, because a democracy is all about freedom of expression, and that's based on freedom of information.
All right, Shehzad, before we move on, let's take a look at some of the tweets that did the rounds after this, Mr. Modi's meeting with the press, and then we'll take a look at some of those and talk about them. Okay, let's take a look, coming up on your screens right now. India mirrors, when knowledge hits dust, a pen easily turns into a broomstick. Media sweeps and Modi clean sweeps. Okay, this is obviously a reference to his quote that the pen can become the broom. Okay, Rahul Kaval, can you confirm if Raita was served? All right. Shehzad, you will have to comment on that. Okay. All right, next. Modi meets media, lauds journos for support on Swachh Bharat. All right, there you have a nice little cartoon. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Modi excels the art to turn his enemies into admirers. In fact, this is the question I was asking Shehzad. Praising Modi meets media for spreading Swachh Bharat news is a great move. Andy Hiker. Modi may have troubled relationship with the media, but he does follow the media. You can hate but not ignore the media. Anshuman Das. Most of the folks seem more interested in clicking selfies than in asking questions that Rahul Kanwal had raised. Nice of PMO India to take time out to meet all the cameramen as well. Most VIPs do not look beyond the editor's table. All right. So there is a positive and a negative there coming from Rahul Kanwal. Narendra Modi meets with the media at informal meet after the short speech. Photo op with Barkha Dutt and I, says Smita Prakash. All right. So those were some of the tweets. In fact, Shehzad, one of the tweets did say that Modi knows the art of converting his enemies into admirers. In fact, this is exactly the question that I was asking you. What is this charisma about the man that people seem to be so happy at, clicking selfies, and nobody really insisted on asking questions?
Well, I would say that the basic contention that journalists were first his enemies and today his admirers is both a fallacy and both is wrong, because in a democracy, journalists should never be seen as enemies by the state or by the governing party, which was wrong on Mr. Modi's part if he saw them as enemies. And then journalists should not turn into admirers because their job is to question and ask hard questions. And if you become admirers, you become sycophants, and you become cheerleaders, then I think you're not doing that job. And as far as the Raita tweet was concerned with Mr. Rahul Kanwal, I have seen Rahul's reportage over the years, and I must say that I don't know, I'm not following his work nowadays, but he has asked tough questions of people. I remember his specific interviews where he had asked tough question. As long as he's making minced meat out of politicians, I don't mind if he has a bit of raita.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Shehzad. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We'll have to wrap up the show here. Like I told you, BJP's Vineet Goenka could not make it. Otherwise, I'm sure we would have had a much more spirited debate. But
I'm sure too, I missed him.
Of course, I will definitely convey the message that you missed him.
And to Mr. Modi to take some hard questions.
All right, definitely. And the message that Shehzad has for all of us, in the media, perhaps it is time to introspect, and the media should not be enemies, but they should definitely not be cheerleaders and admirers as well. If you have anything to say about the meeting that Mr. Modi had with the press in Delhi, do write in to us with your comments at www.indiapostlive.com. Your video comments will be definitely appreciated, your posts, and of course your tweets at #IndiaPostLive and @IndiaPostLive. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye. Thanks, Shehzad.